Please join me in welcoming Secretary of State Delbert Hosemann.
Very well done. Well, good morning, Mississippi. Mississippi businesses. I am so pleased to be back, hobnobbing and talking with all y'all. See so many good friends today, and I want to be brief and to the point. And I want to talk about business for a minute. That's why you're here. That's why the Economic Council exists. It does a great job. So let's talk about business. When I came here and y'all hired me the first time, most of our business laws were archaic. They hadn't been dealt with in a long time. So I took it on to do that, and the legislature took it on to support us. And every year we did one more. We did trademarks. You got an international award for your trademarks. We did corporations. We did securities laws. We did charities laws. And yes, we did limited liability company laws. And now you form 1,000 of those a month in Mississippi, 1,000 LLCs. So gradually we have built, until such time now we have the best business laws in the country, where you work, where you employ people, where you're profitable, and thank goodness, where you pay taxes. So we do that now in Mississippi because we've got the best business laws in the country. So what do we do when you do that? You start a website, and that website is Y'all Business. If you're not looking at Y'all Business, somebody else is taking your business. In the first 3 weeks of Y'all Business, we had 8,000 new visitors. 8,000. Everybody is looking at it, and every state in the country is looking at us. How did you do that? All of the census data for Mississippi is in there. Yes? And all the population data, and all the state data, and who do you call to create or start a business or expand a business? And yes, all the consumer data, the same kind of information that Walmart gets, that Target gets, but now it's available to every small business in Mississippi, free, for no charge. And 8,000 people have looked at it. You need to be looking at Y'all Business or you're going to be behind. And last year, we didn't just stick with business. We were pleased to be able to help the legislature get through an autism bill. 1 in 68 children are born autistic. That's something Mississippians need to address, and we did address it last year. All of that leads me to one thing. I see a lot of the senators and members of the House out here. It leads me to one conclusion that I hope you'll take away from today. Don't apologize for Mississippi. We build cars. We were just talking to Nissan. We build ships. We test the rockets to the moon. We feed millions of people. We clothe people with cotton. We let them cut on their heaters with our energy. We have a great state. We build drones. You go down the list, our culture. We have great writers, wealthy, just up the street. You know, when you go Faulkner, all the ones that wrote here, culture, rock and roll, you invented it. The blues, you invented it. You go back, country and western and Rogers. We have a great culture. We have a great business community. And what are we going to do? We're going to build on that. Every single day, Mississippi's going to get better. Don't apologize for Mississippi because we don't have anything to apologize for. So I want to thank y'all today. Thank y'all for coming. Enjoy the visit. I really enjoy seeing everybody from all over the state get together and start to promote hiring, start to promote new jobs, try to hobnob with each other.
Please welcome State Treasurer Lynn Fitch.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for that music. For all of you, thank you. Let's give them a great big hand because their music is great and adds so much to it. Thank you all. Well, I just want to tell you it's an honor to be here with you today. I certainly appreciate Blake and Scott and the great MEC team and the wonderful job that they do. I appreciate the invitation to be here as always. It means so much. I want to take a moment first and talk about, I'm wearing pink. Pink is important. October is a big month. It's breast cancer awareness. I know that many of us, Cindy and I had just talking about it, many of us have friends and family who've been touched by breast cancer. And it's some very tough and some very challenging times, and it's a pretty horrific disease. But with prayer and research, we're seeing survivors, we're seeing hope, and we hope to have that disease eradicated. So I hope you will take a moment and think about those breast cancer survivors, the ones that are going through it right now, and the future that lies ahead for those individuals. MEC has been so wonderful to work with. You know, that organization is out there strengthening our economy every day. I've been so proud to work with Blake, Scott, the team for the last several years. But I want to talk further about our economy. You know, we've done a lot of hard work here in the state of Mississippi. You know, we've worked on creating jobs. We've worked on strengthening our economy. But I'm here to tell you folks, there are turbulent times in our country. We have some very tough issues that we're facing every day in our country. You know, people are frustrated with Washington, D.C. and that political governance or lack thereof. You know, if you think about it, we're so frustrated because they've been charged to go up there and govern on our behalf. And what are we hearing? The same old story. They're not governing responsibly, but they're continuing to talk about more debt, more spending, and absolutely no solutions. That is frustrating for us. But I'm here to tell you there's a stark contrast between Washington, D.C. and the state of Mississippi. Where you're getting no results in D.C., you're getting great positive results right here in the state of Mississippi. And as your treasurer, I'm proud to talk about the accomplishments that we've had in the last 4 years in my office. I have a fantastic team, and we worked very hard to deliver results to all Mississippians. You know, we've saved the taxpayers, every one of us in this room, over $69 million. And that's just been by managing proactively our state debt. That's a tremendous number that the legislature now doesn't have to appropriate. We've also returned over $41 million to the rightful owners of unclaimed property. And we'll continue to do that because it belongs to you and it's a driver of our economy. We've implemented reforms to the impact program, and that's important because that program needs to be cost neutral to the taxpayers, and it needs to be sound, physically and financially sound. And so we put in those reforms and those regulations. But here's what else we've done. We've expanded our college savings programs, our 529 plans. And a lot of that's been done because we have worked with many businesses, many of you here today, about payroll deduction to provide that alternative for people to save for college for their children and for their grandchildren. You know, did you know that middle-class Americans, the largest savings tool that they have to save for college are the college 529 plans. That makes it even more critical that we have those plans available for you to save, and certainly through payroll deductions if you choose to, with your members of your teams. But we're also very dedicated to continuing that education process on savings and financial education. Worked very hard to get tools into the schools so that they can teach our young people about financial education, so that they can learn the importance of managing their dollars. Because certainly if they're better stewards of their dollars, they're going to be a better citizen of the state of Mississippi, and they're going to be a better individual in all that they do, whether they're an entrepreneur or whether they work for a company. So we created TEAM last year. Many of you have heard me talk about TEAM. It's been a great partnership. But TEAM is Treasurer's Education About Money. It's an initiative to have the discussion on financial education to our young people. We've got great partners. Mississippi Council on Economic Education. They're leading the way on teaching our teachers because teachers provide a critical circle of influence. And they've worked very diligently to train our teachers. And we have many other partners because it takes partners to get this information and these tools to our schools. So I appreciate those of you who have participated, and I hope that many more of you will join on and be a partner in our team effort. But let me give you the great results. from our inaugural year. These are very impressive, and they're very exciting. We've been able to reach over 19,000 students. 19,000. And able to offer 67,000 hours of instruction to these young people. 230 active schools are providing financial education in their schools. And over 500 teachers have been trained by Mississippi Council on Economic Education. I'm here to tell you those are remarkable numbers. And it's important that we continue to change the financial culture of our state because it ultimately affects the economy and all that we do. You know, I'm in public service to move Mississippi forward. My heart calls me to do this. I believe in what I'm doing, and I feel very blessed and very humbled to serve in this position. And I'm proud to serve on a team that understands that it's important to govern responsibly, that it's important to govern effectively. So I'm very, very fortunate that I work with these other team members. But what are we doing in our state that's so different and so important? Well, we're balancing the budget. We're working to have fair and reasonable regulations. We're working every day to make Mississippi businesses want to invest and grow and be a part of Mississippi. We're maintaining a healthy legal climate because we need to continue to have a climate that's free of frivolous lawsuits. That's a huge growth factor for our economy. And we're demanding accountability from the people that teach our children and educate our children. And why is that so important? Because a strong economy requires a strong and educated workforce. We're looking at our infrastructure. And how do we improve our infrastructure without wasting taxpayers' dollars? Again, part of how we drive our economy. We also are looking at how do we maintain and have safe communities. We want our families to feel comfortable in their communities, and we certainly want everyone to enjoy the quality of life that they should be afforded in this great state of Mississippi. You know, we owe our children and our grandchildren this responsibility. All these different factors come into a compilation because we owe this to them. Because you know what? They're going to be the next people that sit at these tables at Hobnob or stand around and hobnob with other business leaders. So we owe that to them. Now here's something, if you don't hear anything, think about this. The younger generation that we have is about a third of our population. That's the reality. But the hardcore reality is they're 100% of our future. So hear me on that. Our young people are 100% of our future, and we've got to get them ready to be the next workforce and to be prepared for our economy. You know, I've talked about a lot of principles, and you know, folks, they're not complicated, but yet they're very effective, and they're easy to drive. And if you look around at other states who have very strong economies, guess what they have? They have sound fiscal policies. They have low taxes. They have limited government. And they have a very strong and prepared workforce. Now, we've made many, many positive strides in the state of Mississippi. Yet there are more to be accomplished. And I know we'll be able to do that. Because Mississippi is on the move. Our economy is moving. And that's thanks to the hardworking people of the state of Mississippi, and certainly to a government that is truly dedicated to a strong economy. I thank you each for being here. I thank you for supporting this organization. Thank you for being our leaders of today and for the future. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Well, thank you, Treasurer Fitch, and thank you for the great work on the Team Mississippi Economics Education Program. It is just absolutely fantastic. We had her on the road show last year going all around the state, and it was great to have her there. Well, my job right now is to introduce some new faces to Mississippi, and let me get your attention with this one. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Okay, well, that is to introduce our largest trading partner, the representative of our largest trading partner, and she is the new Consul General for the Canadian Consulate that's based in Atlanta, but they cover our area. And she's with us today, and please welcome Louise Blais. Louise, stand up, Madam Consul. Good to have you with us. And she's a native of Quebec, and, you know, you'll be pleased to know that we used to play hockey right here, okay? She loves hockey, and she is from the Consulate General in Atlanta. She's only been on the job for about a year, but this is already her second time to Mississippi. So, Madam Consul, it's good to have you with us. Thank you for being with us. We also have with us our new director of the MDA, just focusing on new folks, and that is Glenn McCulloch. Glenn McCulloch is with the Mississippi Development Authority. He's the former chair of the Tennessee Valley Authority, former director of the Appalachian Regional Commission, former mayor of Tupelo, and he is doing a great job. He's spending all the time on the road. He's been to Japan. He's been to Korea. He's been all over the state. Glenn McCulloch, give everybody a wave, our new MDA director. Let's give him a round of applause. Glenn, congratulations. And then we have a new president at one of our biggest utilities, Mississippi Power. Ed Holland, who has been the longtime president and CEO, is moving into a new role. He continues to be the CEO, but Anthony Wilson is the new president of Mississippi Power and will take over as CEO in January. He's a native of D'Iberville, so he's back home now in Mississippi after spending several years over at Georgia Power, which is a sister company of Mississippi Power. And he was the Meridian Division Manager before going over to Georgia. He was the co-gen manager at the Chevron Generating Facility. He's been Vice President of Distribution over in Georgia. He came back home about 6 months ago. It's great to have Anthony, who started with Mississippi Power as a co-op student in college. Anthony Wilson, give everybody a wave. Where is Anthony Wilson? Anthony, there he is over there. Let's welcome Anthony Wilson, the new president and soon-to-be CEO of Mississippi Power. And from across the pond, a guy who is taking the reins of a little tiny manufacturing plant here in Mississippi. The Nissan plant has 6,000 employees. That's about the size of the town of Forest, Mississippi. So I guess Steve Marsh, the new VP and general manager at the Nissan plant, I guess, Steve, that would make you the mayor of the Nissan plant, I would suspect. But his original home is England. He has come back here to the States from France, where he was with a sister division of Nissan, Renault. And he has also been posted in his career in South Africa. He is a real pro at making cars, and he has to be because they make 9 different models out there at the Nissan plant. It was the biggest automotive plant ever built from the ground up anywhere in the world. Let's welcome Steve Marsh, the new Vice President of Nissan Manufacturing North America. Good to have you. And then we've got a new publisher and president here at the Clarion Ledger, our statewide newspaper. His name is Nathan Edwards. He came to Mississippi to the Hattiesburg American back in March and took over this role just in September. He has had postings previously in Augusta, Georgia, and Chattanooga, and also Greenville, South Carolina newspapers. We're glad to have Nathan Edwards on the team here in Mississippi now. Let's welcome the new publisher of the Clarion Ledger, Nathan Edwards. Nathan, where are you? Are you over here somewhere? Where's Nathan? Nathan, wave hard so we can see you. All right? Well, Nathan's somewhere. Let's give him a round of applause. And then also we have a new general manager here at Nucor Steel, Kevin Vandeven. He's the new plant manager in from Missouri. Kevin, we're glad to have you with us too. So Kevin Vandeven from Nucor Steel here at the Flowood plant. There you are, Kevin. Good to have you with us as well.
Well, good morning and welcome to Hobnob. It is a great honor. Thank you, Scott, for allowing me to come out and get this morning cranked up and started for us this morning. It's great to see so many community leaders and business leaders, our public officials from across the state gathering together here. It's a highlight of the year for all of us to get to say hello to each other and visit. It's been 8 years I've had the privilege of serving as your state auditor, protecting Mississippi's reputation. This morning, simply I want to share with you some of our track record and what we've accomplished, how the nation looks at the job we're doing here in Mississippi. Rutgers University's Center for Public Integrity just the last couple of years ago recognized Mississippi as the 6th best state in the nation when it comes to enforcing our public corruption laws. We're in the top 10 when it comes to holding people accountable, and that's an honor that we should be proud of as Mississippians. We've recovered over $24 million of our tax dollars that were stolen and embezzled during that 8-year time period. That's more money than any 8-year period of any state auditor previously. It's a privilege to get to say that because I have a foundation to build off of from Governor Phil Bryant to today. It's what conservative leadership will do for a state like Mississippi. Not only have we recovered $24 million, we've put over 150 individuals that we've investigated. We've got that many individuals who've pled guilty or been found guilty by a jury of their peers because Mississippi takes public corruption seriously. What does that mean for our national reputation? My colleagues at the National State Auditors Association, my counterparts across the country, recognized Mississippi with the Excellence in Accountability Award just 2 years ago. August a year ago, the Comptroller General of the United States, Gene Dodaro, awarded Mississippi the David M. Walker Award for Excellence in Accountability. The top 2 awards for accountability, the top 2 awards that any auditor's office can receive, Mississippi has received during my term in office, and that's a reputation that we should all be proud of, and I appreciate the men and women of the auditor's office protecting Mississippi the way they do. So national rankings, we're in the top 10. The top awards and recognition that we can receive for accountability, that's who we are in Mississippi. But we're not done yet. Right now, we're working over 150 cases across the state, investigating and holding individuals accountable. But that's just a part of what we do. We're mandated by the legislature and state law that we're also supposed to audit and do performance audits, specifically when it comes to education in Mississippi. It's probably one of the top issues, if y'all haven't heard of a little initiative that's going to be on the ballot next Tuesday. Education is probably the most important thing we all will be voting on. It's the #1 issue for all Mississippians. But for the last half a dozen years, my office has reported to the legislature and to you, the taxpayers, that the MEP funding formula that we're arguing over and fighting over is broken. The numbers that go into it are not auditable. The legislature fixed the first part of it. $1.9 billion was based on average daily attendance. Until 2 years ago, there was no standard definition, which means that you could bring a child to school, check them in, check them out, and the school district could count that child as if they were present all day. But we had other school districts that required the children to stay in class until 11 or noon or all day in order to count them present. It was not equitable from district to district, and when we pointed that out to the legislature, they passed a law that required the children to be in school 60+% of the day. That law has been in place now for 2 years, and it's amazing. The NAEP, the National Assessment for Education, just came out, and we're seeing our test scores, the only state in the nation whose 4th grade test scores went up. Our children are accomplishing better, and they're learning better, not just because of the 3rd grade reading gate, not just because of the coaches, but for the first time in our state history, we have a law in place that requires the kids to have their butt in the chair, and it's amazing. When their bottom's in the chair, the brain typically is with it. They're having an opportunity to learn. Common sense conservative leadership is working in Mississippi when it comes to our economy. It's working for accountability, and it's working in education, and we must continue to build upon those foundations and build upon that track record. I appreciate the privilege and opportunity to serve as your state auditor, and I promise you we're going to continue the next 4 years with your support, your help, and your vote, building on that foundation to protect our state's reputation, continuing to watch that reputation grow nationally, and to make sure we hold every individual, those that break the law and those of us that are simply trying to do the right thing day in and day out, accountable for that responsibility to you, the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi. Love to hang out and visit a little while longer this morning, but if you'll allow me, I will ask you, watch your Twitter feed, watch Facebook. We'll have a little press conference happening about noon in North Mississippi today as we go back to doing our job as your state auditor, and a little tease for what we're going to be up to this afternoon. Thank y'all so much for being a hobnob. Thank you for allowing me to kick the morning off, and thank you for allowing me to be your state auditor. Y'all have a great day.
Our message today, this is a chance to update business and community leaders from across the state that attend Hobnob about our record at the auditor's office, what we're doing, what our initiatives are to protect Mississippi's reputation. You know, with the new magic system, the software system on behalf of the state, that's a huge transition that we're going through. And as the auditor's office, we're going to be making sure that we got everything in place so that our bond rating is not affected, so that our single audit and our federal dollars are continuing to flow and everything works. I was in D.C. just last week with the Inspector General for various federal agencies, with the Comptroller General of the United States addressing a lot of these issues, making sure our federal partners are all involved in what we're doing in Mississippi. And of course, the crime and fighting public corruption is always the big part of what we do at the auditor's office. And what we're going to be doing is giving the update kind of where we are. We'll have a news breaking later today on some stories and cases that we're working. But of course, where we're going over the next 4 years. We're working 150 cases right now across the state. Everything from some of the smallest school districts and municipalities to some of our largest state agencies. And we take that job very seriously in Mississippi, and that's why we've received the national recognition that we have, setting the bar, setting the standard at protecting Mississippi and fighting public corruption.
What kind of progress have you made over the last 4 years, and what are your plans for the next 4 years?
Well, Rutgers University's Center for Public Integrity recognized Mississippi as the 6th best state of the nation just a couple of years ago for enforcing our public corruption laws. And that's one of the big stories, is to realize Mississippi's reputation is changing. Not only has Rutgers University research showed that we're one of the top 10 states in the nation enforcing our laws, our colleagues and my peers at the National State Auditor Association, the Comptroller General himself, have all given us the top 2 awards for accountability. So Mississippi is setting the standard, setting the bar when it comes to fighting public corruption, enforcing our public corruption laws, and it's something I'm proud that I don't just get to be a part of, but I get to help lead in.
The easiest thing is go to mec.ms. That's a very a 5-letter website, mec.ms. It's got all of the information throughout that site about what MEC does, kind of how you can be part of the process, our events, and also we treat our website as a way of promoting news across the state. So if you want to find out what's happening in the state, particularly on a positive perspective, it's a great place to do it.